So today I'm going to show you how I created this very simple dark blue atmospheric watercolour painting. Okay, so a quick rundown of the materials you will need. A sheet of watercolour paper. I am using a cold pressed fine grain Archer's paper. You will need a large brush for applying water and a smaller flat brush for the paint, 2 glasses of water, some tissue for blotting your brush, some tape to tape the edges for a clean finish, and last but not least, some dark blue watercolour paint. I'm using Paynes grey. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to tape the side of my paper to get a clean finish when the painting is done. I'm using the width of the tape to make sure that the rectangle is straight. And now I'm mixing a bit of water in with my Paynes grey to get that paint ready for when I'll need it. And I'm just gonna get some clean water on my bigger brush and cover the whole surface of the paper with water. I'm not making it soaking, I'm just getting the whole surface evenly spread with the water. I'm pushing down my tape to make sure that it's really flat on the surface. Try and stop the paint seeping through and wiping away the excess water. I'm ready to start. Get my Paynes grey paint. I'm using it quite dark, not too much, lots of paint and not too much water. Just always going right across the width of the page. Okay, so the paper is still wet and I'm working relatively quickly because I don't want the paper to dry while I'm painting. Now I'm going to mix some Paynes grey in with even more water because I want the colour to become less saturated the further up the page we get. So I'm moving left to right and right to left. And now what I'm going to do is just use plain water for the very top part of the painting. Just getting some clean water on my brush and I'm just literally going right across the top, left to right and right to left. Okay, so now I feel like the centre of the painting needs a bit more paint, a bit more saturated paint, so I'm gonna just apply another band across there. And as you can see, there's no definite rule about how to do this, but I would say try to go right across the page and don't overwork the paint too much. Okay, so I'm kind of happy with how this is looking now, and I'm just going to leave it and to see how it dries. I'm going to wipe away the excess paint on the side. And I'm also going to use a brush to try and get rid of some of the excess paint. I'm trying to stop the paint from going under the tape, but when you're using this much paint, that's quite hard, so I'm just going to do my best, and then when we take the tape off, we'll see how it's done. You can always add a mask or a mat over the top of the painting once it's finished to finish it off if some of the paint has bled. Okay, I'm happy with how this is looking now, so I'm just going to put it aside and wait for it to dry. Okay, what I'm going to do in this next bit is show you painting the other painting, because I did 2 at the same time, but I'm just speeding everything up here. So there's the tape, the water, adding the paint, always going left to right. Okay, that's it. Quick recap. Left to right, not overworking the paint too much. Wiping off the paint, the excess paint. I'm moving this one around a bit to control the way that the paint moves. And that's it. That one finished. I've just got to wait for both of them to dry. Okay, here you go. Here's how the paintings turned out, and I'm showing them without the mounts. And you can see that the edges the paint has bled a little bit under the tape. So in the end I decided that I would get mounts made for these, or these are known as mats if you're in other parts of the world other than the UK. Okay, so the other thing about these paintings is that they're now flat, and I didn't stretch the paper when I made them, so I had to stretch the paper after. They actually look like this when I finished them. As you can see, they're warped. So I've made another video showing how I flatten this paper. And while I talk about this, I'm just putting a really speeded up version of this video in the background. Okay, and the reason why I don't flatten the paper is a few reasons. One of them is that I work quite small, so I don't always find it necessary. I think the reason to flatten the paper is if it's affecting your painting, and I generally don't find it does. I get around this by moving the paper around sometimes. And the second reason is that I want to get on with it. I'm very busy, I'm sure just like you are, and I'm trying to fit painting in around other things. So I don't want to always have to spend time flattening paper, especially if I'm not sure if the painting is going to work out. Anyway, I have this really fantastic method for flattening it after. As you can see from this speeded up version, I use tape, not books. But I'm going to make this into a proper video and with a voiceover and slowed down, and I'll put it on my channel over the next few days with a link in the description. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see similar videos in the future, then please subscribe to my channel. Bye!